Hey, what's up, everybody? Another week of RL Esports news. On the agenda for today, we've got our week 2 predictions, the speed interview that came up by Jinx TV, the RLRS schedule finally being announced, and more podcasts for you guys to dive into. One of my favorites being the fact that Leaf has brought back RL Dojo. Let's get into it. First things first, Jinx Esports TV did an interview with Speed about his arrival with Scrub, the brain dead meta, and the future of Rocket League in general. During the discussion, they end up talking about how scrims have been going, the pressure of being a pro and balancing that with the real life aspects of going to school and having to balance a school schedule and homework and all that kind of stuff, as well as the overall feelings that they had of him picking up Scrub and how that's kind of developed. They also link stuff like his comm video from week 3 versus Vitality and talking about certain things of where the roster used to be, where it's at now, where they're headed. So an overall pretty cool thing to pick Speed's mind. It's always nice because he's never really afraid to share his opinion. So pretty good read overall. I'll link that down in the description below. After harassing Jazo, he finally put up the remaining VODs of the CJC Show, which airs every Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern over at CJC Show on Twitch. This week, we ended up discussing and recapping the first week of RLCS now that the server stuff is back into shape. And we also touched on the 4th Astro Tourney qualifier that Ghost won yet again. We also discussed goals for teams, both short-term and long-term, based upon the perceptions of Chrome and Jazo, the two coaches that we have on the show, as well as touching on stuff like predictions for the following week and key matchups and things that we are going to cover here in just a bit. For more details on the CJC Show, just follow all the socials on every platform. CJC Show, pretty easy to find. Straight across the board. Speaking of podcasts, one of my favorite ones is back. LeafX is back with the RL Dojo. If you guys have never seen it before, it was something he did in the past where he asks and sits down with RLCS pros and talks about mechanics and mentalities and things that go into it. His first guest yesterday was with Dapper and talks about how he was super strong early on in the scene, his 1v1 mentalities, and then how it was to bounce back, go through the RLRS, and requalify with the new team, Sonics, that is now playing in the RLCS. He had a 3-season hiatus roughly, so to see him back is pretty awesome, and to hear his perspective on that is pretty great as well. We actually ended up changing on how we do predictions for the spreadsheet that we use each week. The first thing being is we separated all the tabs. We ended up separating all the tabs for individual weeks as well as overall standings. And something that we ended up doing on my stream, if you guys don't watch live already, twitch.tv/Lawler, is we now actually have a general straw poll that we do while I go over my discussion on stream live. Usually we do it today or the day before. That way we can lead into stuff. But the way we ended up doing it is I ended up talking about my discussion and how I got my picks. And then while that's happening, you guys are able to vote. And then we take the general consensus of the entire stream and we put all that stuff and get their votes as well. So a lot of fun, active discussion, as well as we get to kind of compare and guess and see how big brain you guys can be. Looking at week 1, the 2 big guesses, I ended up getting the C9 game wrong. C9 looked really flat. United came out and just had a solid game. Ajax is playing really well. He won MVP for the week. And we ended up seeing Roldiz step up as well. So they ended up taking turns to help Hoxer and came out strong 3-0. As for Cloud9, just looked flat. I don't know how better to say it than Gimmick just looked bad. And Torment, not that he looked bad, was just not really involved. It feels like anytime he was there for a pass, they just glossed over it. And maybe that's just me pulling at straws because I know the internal conflict that ended up happening with the Hoxer Torment thing. But yeah, it was an interesting one to watch. As for Europe, the only one we got wrong was the Veloce Barcelona game, which went to 5, and it could have went either way, honestly. The exciting thing is we finally got to see Devo play offense, and in the ways that we haven't seen in a long time. Very dribble heavy, a lot of good challenges. Flakes was moving upfield and going for passes, so they answered a lot of things that I was happy to see. As for Veloce, same thing. A lot of Game 5s. This time they ended up losing it, and we could see this being the season where they lose those Game 5s instead of winning them. And then adding in where they just... If you guys didn't see the highlight video where Chrome says they look really bad and then they bump into each other, pretty much summarizes what was going on with Veloce. In their defense, I will say that there was a moment where it looked really convincing that they were trying a new style, and I just don't think it suits them. I think they should stick to very defensive, focus on the other team making mistakes and making good decisions, and then punishing those when the other team does make mistakes. So we'll see if they bounce back and go back to what I think is the best style for them from what we've seen in the past season. Looking ahead to week 2, we went a little bit more over the top with it, which is great. Hopefully we can get better and better and more with these. Overall, with all the predictions, pretty straightforward for what you're looking for, but a lot of key matches to look out to. And the easiest way to do it is based upon tiebreaker potential and stuff of what we assume will be towards the top. For North America, the 2 that I have an eye on are Rogue versus Cloud9. That one could be a top 6 potential tiebreaker where both these teams I feel will be fighting for that 6th place spot, and they could end up anywhere from 6th to 10th at this point. So really important match, even though I may not look it. I do give the nod to the veteran status of Cloud9, even though they are looking pretty lackluster. Rogue has a new team. They're still trying to find their form. I'm not sure that I don't necessarily feel that Rogue is the worst team or the lesser team in this matchup. It's more so that it's going to take time for them to develop into what this team could be. And because of that, I have to give it to the experience and the talent of just pure raw skill from Cloud9. So close match, could go either way. It will be interesting to watch that one. And then probably the match of the week for North America, G2 versus Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights trying to figure out how AJ is going to fit into the mix. I keep hearing how good they are in scrims. We just haven't seen it. They looked pretty sloppy in week 1. As for G2, they're looking very solidified. That team house is definitely paying off. Still a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes and whiffs and stuff on defense where they look sloppy, but overall, I like where this unit is progressing and what Jaws is trying to do with the team. So exciting stuff for G2. I think that could be also a really close match considering PK has always had their number. And this could also be another team or another battle for that top 4 or even top 3 spot. So really important in the page playoff style that they've done in the past where that 3rd, 4th seed gets a second life going into the playoffs. EU side of things, very difficult to really pick a match that is a favorite because they're all pretty fucking awesome. Game 2 is TSM Veloce, which I think is going to be an awesome one. I think ASM Monaco versus Dignitas is going to be a good one. But probably the high key match is going to be Rec versus Mouse. I think that match will be a nail biter, and I'm glad they saved it for last. So really looking forward to that one. Yeah, last week we ended up having one wrong. We ended up getting the Veloce Barcelona one wrong, and it kind of leads in the right direction. Talking about how Barcelona usually goes to game 5 and they are winning them. I think this may trend in the other direction. A lot of mistakes, a lot of punishable things. As for Barcelona, it was more so that Devo was playing a lot of good offense. Flake seemed to be supporting it and passing pretty well, and then Ronicky was just doing stuff. I don't know. It's not that he was playing bad. It was just kind of weird. So I think they're still trying to find their form as well. It'd be interesting to see how that team develops throughout the season. But yeah, so far we are 8-2 on predictions, so can't complain too heavily. If we step back into week 2, Rec and Mouse is probably the one I'm excited for the most. I honestly believe this could be 3-1 in favor of Rec as well. Mouse, to me, last week still had some troubles. They weren't exactly the most solidified team, but you could tell that they're slowly trying to figure out what they want it to be. I think they're struggling right now with seeing who is going to help Speed on offense, whether it's Scrub or Cooks. I think this game is really going to come down to who controls the midfield as well as who causes a lot of disruption. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Speed as well as Fruity. But something that we kind of talked about stream when we were going into this one is Fruity's position on reciprocity. If, you know, Vitality keeps showing that the all-French team is the way to go and they see benefits to it, I can easily see the other 2 French guys on Rec being like, you know what, Fruity, I'm sorry. Extra's playing really fucking good as a rookie on Monaco, and we want to bring him over, and then Fruity gets the boot. So I think this is a good one for Fruity to showcase what he's truly made of. I'm excited to see it. I know he was feeling pretty confident when we were talking to him in chat, so really looking forward to that matchup. I think it's going to be one that I will gladly make sure I do not leave early on during the watch party. And always, we have to shout out the watch party. If you guys didn't see the highlight video, go do so. It was an absolute blast hanging out with all the guys from the CJC Show, as well as having Speed come on during the NA stuff. But a lot of in-depth commentary, a lot of spur-of-the-moment conversation, me getting my ass kicked in IO games. We didn't get to play Tetris enough because that's the only game I can redeem myself in. But twitch.tv/Lawler on Saturdays. We start off at 1:30 Central for the pre-show. And then on Sundays, we start off at, God, what time is that? It's so early for me. Starts at 8. So that's 8:30 Pacific, which is 10:30 Central. So 10:30 Central is when the pre-show starts. If I wake up in time, I usually start a little bit earlier, just kind of introduce and say hi and what's up, everybody. We kind of do predictions and hang out, but I'm more about being candid and kind of doing the predictions before the match starts. So we'll see who we get for special guests. It's always a fun time, but Absolute blast. We'll probably get together with CJ and the guys again because it was just way too funny. Listen to Chrome yell Remco's voice or Remco's name at a high pitch. So really fun stuff there. That wraps it up for all things Rocket League esports for the week. Pretty exciting stuff overall. If you guys have any recommendations on how we can better improve the show, or even better yet, if you guys have stuff like opinions on who you guys think is going to win, if you guys weren't in chat, please drop those in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your opinions. And I think what we're going to end up doing is each week is I will try to find a way to give to somebody who gets the predictions right. We'll figure out what we do with credits or something. We'll figure it out. It's been pretty fun. I want to take revenue that I'm earning from YouTube due to the support from you guys and try to find a way to give it back. So it's been a lot of fun. Daily uploads are a pain in the ass, being completely honest, but it's been good. It's keeping me busy, and I appreciate all the support that we've had on the stream as well, as it's allowing me to continue to do what I love doing, which is talking Rocket League. So once again, appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. Peace.